Hi, I've got a lovely dessert. It's a bit technical. We're going to temper some chocolate, make a little tier, and then we're going to fill it with a mousse. But to stop the mousse from spilling out from underneath, we need to make a little base. Quite a lot of people that come to the cookery school have an intolerance to gluten, so we've tried to make this dessert gluten-free. So, the first job is to temper the chocolate. Now, what I've got is 54% cocoa solid. I find a higher cocoa solid content gets very bitter. And what I'm going to do is plonk this on a pan of boiling water. What is important is we're going to bring the temperature up to 54 degrees. So this is going to melt. You do need a thermometer to do this. We're going to stick that in, and when it reaches 54 degrees, what I'm going to do is take a quarter of the volume of chocolate out. We're going to drop the temperature of the main chocolate down to 26.4. When that happens, we're going to combine the two chocolates together. That chocolate will be ready to be tempered, and we can then bend it into whatever shape we like. What I'm actually going to do is use this acetate, which you can buy on Amazon, and we just spread the chocolate on there, shape it into a tier, leave it for about 5 minutes, and you can actually peel it off the acetate. In all honesty, it's going to take a while for that to come up to the desired temperature, so I'm going to move it over to the back, over here. In the meantime, I thought what we could do is make the mousse, which is quite straightforward. I've got 95 grams of double cream, which I'm just going to add to a pan. Now, I've got a few chef-y type ingredients here, and I don't want you to worry too much because they are quite easy to get. The first is liquid glucose, which is very easy. You can get that in tubes in the supermarket. So that's going to go in. I've also got some tremoline. Now, if you can't get hold of this, or you don't want to buy it because it comes normally in quite large quantities, then you can double up on liquid glucose and then vanilla. I mean, it's not really that chefy. I'm going to bring that up to the boil, and then I'm going to add it to 130 grams of white chocolate I've got here. Right, that's come up to the boil. I'm going to tip all of it onto the chocolate. Now, the temperature in the cream and all those other ingredients will be sufficiently high to melt the chocolate. And actually, what I've got under here is another 250 grams of double cream, 250 ml, I should say. And as soon as the chocolate is completely melted, it's got a little bit of work to do. I'm going to add the double cream. I'm not going to mix. If I do that, there's a very good chance that the cream will split. So I'm just going to put this on top of the mixture and then leave it for about 5 or 6 minutes. Right, brilliant, 54 degrees. Take that out. I'm going to take a quarter of this volume out, and I'm going to let that, the main mixture, reduce down to 26.4, and when it gets to 26.4, add this back in. Now, whilst we're doing that, I thought a nice idea might be to make the little cake mixture, so we can crack on with that straight away. I have my ingredients over here. 2 eggs, and I've got 75 grams of icing sugar here and 50 grams of cocoa powder. We're going to give that a bit of a mix, and as soon as that comes together, we'll lay it on a baking tray and stick it in the oven for about 8 minutes, I would have thought, 6 to 8 minutes. If you're happy with that texture, all we're going to do is smear that on. That goes in the oven. I'm saying 160 degrees for 6 to 8 minutes. Right, I'm happy with that. We're 26.4. So we add the balance to this bowl. And that chocolate's now ready to work with. I've got these acetate strips, and what I'm going to do is put a little blob of chocolate at the end of each one, tempered chocolate, I should say. And then I'm just going to very lightly spread a layer of chocolate over one like so. Now, as you can see, I haven't quite put enough on, so it doesn't hurt to put an extra layer. Actually, if I was really smart, I'd do it at the other end. There we go. And that should give me more than enough. You just want to smooth it out so the entire acetate is covered with tempered chocolate. There we go. Right, what I'm going to do is just create a little tier like that, and I'll do the other one too. Quite messy business, but here we go. Those stick together, and I'll stick those on a tray, and then we just peel the acetate off in a moment. So I've got our mousse here. Just going to give it, gave it a bit of a whisk earlier on actually, but that's, you know, quite happy with that as a consistency. I'm just going to use some of it as the base of our dish. There we go. And then I am going to take one of these acetate tiers and just peel off the outer acetate skin. There we go. That will go on there. Then I am going to pipe a little bit of the mousse into this bag. Before I pipe the mousse in, I've got some of the base here. So I'm just going to crumble this up and put that in. I might actually use a bit of it for the garnish as well. And an extra layer. I'm going to put a little bit of mousse in now. A couple of raspberries. A little bit more mousse, which I'll then finish off with a palette knife. There we go. And then just a little bit of the chocolate crumb to finish it off with. But that's the that's a white chocolate parfait with a tempered chocolate tier.